So, okay. Well, welcome everybody to an art business workshop. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that a little bit over 6 years now. And yeah, that means I've been working 6 years and change on trying to solve the problem that is how do you apply modern marketing, both, digitally and, you know, um, when we get the chance to in person, face to face. To the problem of solving how to sell art and photography, on how to build a proper art and photography selling business. In addition to that, I've been running essentially 3 of these sessions a week with folks like you trying to find out more about art storefronts, and many times 2 days in additional a week, or Zoom calls just like this internally with our customers where we're teaching things and we're doing Q&A. I bring that up to say that on a week in, week out basis, I probably talk to more artists and photographers than just about any other human being on this planet. You do that for long enough, pattern recognition becomes a thing. You hear what people are struggling with, what they think they need to do, and you get a lot of reps and sets. I say that I really do believe that I can help you. I really do believe that I want the session to be valuable for you guys to leave with some tangible things that you can do to improve your business and where it is. And in addition to that, um, I think we have a little bit over 5,500 customers now, and I have access to all their data. And so myself, my team, we study it pretty closely. Who's capturing the most email addresses? Who is selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Who's selling the most prints? Who is getting the most revenue out of per email subscriber on a month-to-month basis? Who's selling the most metal prints, acrylic prints, wood prints? Why? What are they doing? And we don't just look at their stats. We really break it down. We really look at it. What are they doing in terms of marketing that's working? What is it that sets them apart from their fellow artists and photographers that are on the platform? And all of that combined, I believe, really does give me some pretty unique insight into what actually is working to build a profitable art or photography business right now in 2021, as we're coming out of COVID and as we are all trying to see whether or not life's going to go back to normal. What does it pretend? What does it pretend to the photography, art and photography markets? So super interesting time. Super interesting time to be an artist. So I think what I'll do is I'll start out. I've got sort of like a little presentation that I put together, and I'm missing one thing. I got to pull up. Where I'll kind of just talk about some things at a high level that we sort of do, that Art Storefronts does. Normally we mix it up. Sometimes we run through like a little, light demo at a high level of all the stuff that we do. I'll probably skip that today, and then what we'll do after this whole thing's over is any of the links that I mentioned, any of the websites that I talk about, anything that we pull up, anything that comes up as a result of your questions, all of that will gets embedded in a web page, and then we send that to you after the fact. So there'll be all the links and everything, and there'll be that demo on there. So if you want to go through that video, I think it's like 12 minutes or something like that. It'll kind of walk you through everything. But I've on some of these sessions, I've been talking about this thing that I came up with called the art selling pyramid. Okay. And I stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Maslow's pyramid or not, but the idea is there's some blocks on the bottom. It goes up to the pyramid on the top, and you need to sort the blocks on the bottom before you can even sort the ones that are on top of it. And so in Maslow's, the physiological needs are first. We all need to eat. We all need to sleep. We all need to do that on a daily basis. It's a quotidian need. After that, we can sort safety, the roof over our head, the lock on our door. We can start earning some money, getting in shape, love, belonging, esteem, self-actualization. You're a wonderful human being, all of that. So I give you the art selling pyramid, okay? And I really do believe that this is the path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. And it is literally critical. And I have talked to so many people week in, week out, that did not have an idea about any of these concepts, were not practicing any of these concepts. They had a decent business going on, and the pandemic hit. The rug got ripped out from underneath their feet. They were left with doing absolutely nothing. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying to see that. And I think if you understand this pyramid, independent if you ever become a customer with us, if you start putting these practices in place in your business right now, you're going to be in a significantly better place in the years to come. And you're never going to let a situation like the pandemic ushered in to completely destroy your business overnight. Because the ones that did understand this pyramid, the ones that do understand this pyramid, had an all-time home run windfall of a situation. The desire, demand for art and photography as a result of the pandemic completely surged. Okay. It fell into the home decor category. No one was going to work anymore. Everyone was stuck at home. They were sick and tired of their white walls and they were finally ready to do something. So art and photography sales exploded during the pandemic. And so you have this surge in demand that never before seen. And then all the places where you could buy art or photography, okay, um, galleries, done, gone. Show and fair circuit, done, gone. And so it pretty much came down to the online galleries and directly from the artist. And the ones that had the ability, that were marketing, that knew how to reach people, capitalized on it. And they had some of the best years they ever had in the middle of a pandemic. And that's an incredible place to be. And it's a very feasible, easy thing to do if you understand the pyramid and if you spend some time working at it. So I think it's a critical sort of thing to start with. And again, just like Maslow's, you got to sort the blocks at the bottom as we go up. The first one's attention, okay? And just like Maslow's, eating and sleeping, the physiological needs are a daily task, okay? Every single solitary person on this call to a human has an attention problem. You don't have enough eyeballs on your art, on your photography, such to grow your business. Stated another way, you could call it a marketing problem. Every single solitary person on this call has a marketing problem. Most of you are not doing it consistently. Most of you don't know what to do. A great many of you suck at it. Most artists and photographers do. That's just the lay of the land. But you know, the other interesting thing is that I've got customers in the high six figures. Okay. They have a marketing problem. They still need to get better at it. And understanding that we fundamentally live in an age where the currency of the land is attention. With attention, you can do anything. Without it, no one sees your art. No one sees your photography. The best art, the best photography does not win. The best art, the best photography that gets seen wins. And this is fundamentally your biggest problem. There's a whole bunch of people on here that think they have a website problem. You can't have a website problem until you fix the attention problem. There's a whole bunch of people on here that think they have a niche selection problem. You'll never know if you have the right niche until you fix the attention problem. And on and on and on. And we can get into it more as we go. There's two kinds of attention: rented and owned. The rented is anything where they control the rules. They can cancel your lease at any time. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any of the socials, pretty much anywhere. That's rented attention. Still critically important, but the whole goal of rented attention is, yes, to grow it, and then yes, to get as much of it in the owned camp. Owned attention, phone numbers, snail mail addresses, and email addresses, email being the most important. That collectively is attention. And, you know, one of the things that I always teach on this class, you want to know some women that understand the attention being the currency of the land. You want to know some women that are some of the most powerful in the United States, let alone the world. Now you can criticize how they got there and how they cultivated that level of attention, but you cannot criticize their business sophistication and, you know, the fact that they haven't exactly flown commercial for the last 10 years. It's the Kardashians. Okay, the Kardashians could decide tomorrow that they wanted to be artists, and they could paint ugly stick figures on a piece of canvas or take photos with their iPhone and instantaneously probably sell $10 million worth of art, regardless of whatever talent they probably have or don't have, year one. Why? Because they have attention. That's it. That's why they all have, you know, $100 million, $1 billion, whatever you choose to believe, business empires, because they understand attention is the currency of the land. So just like Maslow, eating and sleeping, every day we need to show up and we need to be cultivating more attention, okay? Rented and owned for our art. There are a great many that have never figured this out. The pandemic hit and their goose was cooked. It's terrifying. The next block up, I'm going to start with an outer shell. The outer shell is one or two, and then I'll get into the inner shell. One, you have to understand the business model. I believe this is just absolutely fundamental. If you want to have a successful art and photography business, you have to understand the business model, okay? Critical. What is the business model? It's selling direct. It's selling direct. You selling directly to the end consumer, okay? And the most important thing, the most important aspect of this particular business model is you retain the customer info such that you can market to those folks in perpetuity for the rest of your art or photography producing lives. You need to be able to market to these people, okay? It is absolutely critical. Once you understand that business model and you're working at it, you're going to start building a collector list. And a collector list, borrowed the concept from Weiland. He's got this book called Don't Be a Starving Artist. I 100% recommend all of you buy it. It is fantastic. It is very thin. Why would you want to buy this guy's book? He's the #1 best-selling artist in the entire United States, and it's not even close, apparently. So the guy knows what he's talking about, the whale guy, Weiland, right? He talks in there about this concept of his collector list, okay? And what is a collector? He defines one as someone that will purchase in upwards of 8+ pieces from him over the course of his lifetime. So he keeps producing stuff, his prices keep going up, the collectors go along for a ride, and they just keep buying more and more and more and more over the course of the years. And it is fundamentally one of the most important things an artist or a photographer could have. Okay. It can collectively be thought of as the 401k or pension of your business. Year in, year out, it will continue to pay if you are cultivating one and actively marketing to it and treating them like the VIPs that they are. You know, Wyland talks about the stuff that he does to go out of his way to take care of these folks. Um, but it's fundamental. It is absolutely fundamental. And, you know, your goal, it starts out with you just have a bunch of emails on a list and you have a bunch of social followers. Then you get some initial purchases and your collectors just become anyone that's purchased anything. Then you keep at it for a while longer. And a collector truly is someone that's purchased a couple of pieces over the course of the year. But fundamentally, where it becomes so important, so powerful is you're an artist, you're a photographer, whatever art that you might do. You come out with a new collection, you are going to have a big live art show, let's just say, or a gallery if the world goes back to normal. And prior to that opening, your collector list gets to see the entire show. And I have artists on a regular basis that understood the rules that have been cultivating this collector list in which 30 to 40 to 50%, 60% sometimes of the entire show is sold before a normal human being, the public, even gets to see it. That is why a collector list is so powerful. It is an absolute game changer. And there are so many that have not cultivated it throughout the course of their art careers. And that is a terrifying, terrifying thing. Once you sort these two things, the business model, and you're building a collector list, the next block are the 3 ways to sell art. The 3 ways to sell art, I believe every single solitary artist, every single solitary photographer that is serious about growing a business needs to be putting all 3 into practice. And what is number one? Number one, the best way to sell art. What is it? Trick question. Of course, it's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. That's not going to change anytime soon. But the problem is that all of us are geographically fixed on this planet. We all need to sleep, and we can't have 15 conversations unless you're my wife at once. So to solve for that, we have to have a website. Okay. The website solves for all of those situations. It solves for the situations where you're asleep. It solves for the situations where folks are not geographically located in your town. You can have 50 people on your website at once. So that is the second way. But the trick question, the dirty little secret here, and you know, it, understand the subtle irony here that everyone thinks that we're a website provider. The website is the worst way of the 3. Okay, it is the worst way of the 3 to sell art. Does that mean it's not important? No, it is critically important. But the second way, okay, the newest way, the way that everyone right now in the art selling world, let alone art selling world, entire e-commerce digital marketing world is trying to figure out is exactly what we're doing right now. It is leveraging live video in either a one-to-one capacity or a one-to-many capacity to sell your work. One-to-one. I come to Greg's website. I'm following him on social. I say, Greg, I really like your work. Do you think we could set up a Zoom call? I'd like you to show me a couple of pieces. I'm trying to outfit a bathroom in my new house. Greg says, no problem, Patrick. I'd love to schedule that Zoom call with you. He schedules it. He's got the pieces ready to go. He's showing them to me on video. He's talking about his inspiration. We're getting into prices. He gets the deal over the line. That's one-to-one. What about one-to-many? One-to-many is where you leverage the latest and greatest, which is the concept of a live art show. Okay. And I don't care if we're talking about a live art show that goes down in your basement studio. This is his garage studio, this particular fellow, and he's showing off some works and he's streaming it live to the various different social media sites. And he's selling in a one-to-many fashion. Okay. A whole bunch of different people can pop onto this. This is a version where it's just him in his basement. We've run other shows with this particular gentleman, a longtime customer. This one was in the middle of COVID when he actually did have the gallery show. Okay. Exact same concept, right? Shows hung in the gallery. The show went down last night. A good portion of the work sold. And now he's turning the cameras on, and we can get into the tech for this later. And he's walking people through the show. He's talking about the show. He's talking about the various different pieces. And this is the next best thing, okay, that gets as close as possible, okay, to selling in person face to face, right? If the best way to sell art is in person, the best way to sell art would have been if it is at his gallery opening, right? If we were at his gallery opening, cocktail in hand, walking around, talking to the artist, putting a little red dot on the thing if we were going to buy it, and all of that. All right. The next best thing is this, and it's pretty doggone close. Like, we are in his actual gallery show. He's walking through the actual pieces. He has a glass of wine in his hand like he would in an opening night. People are asking questions live and trying to figure it out. And the entire art selling world is trying to figure this out right now. And it goes from anyone that's not even ever sold anything at all the way to people at the very, very top of the food chain. So let's talk about the top of the food chain. This is the Art Market Report. It's put out by Art Basel, UBS. It comes out on a yearly basis. Totally think you guys should read it. Going to send it to you. Yours is not an industry where there is a tremendous amount of reports. Now, the disclaimer in this particular thing is these guys are surveying primarily the one percenters, okay? The one percenters, the very top of the very top, the ones that are selling at the biggest galleries in the world, the ones that are selling at Christie's and Sotheby's. But the lessons are still important, and the lessons definitely apply to us, okay? And you can download the PDF of this, which I recommend. It's a pretty significant report, but it's awesome. But they also have this quick findings section, and I want to talk to you. Where's there's one section? And let me just look at the online sales. And I quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market, the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. And it goes on and on. You know what OVRs are? OVRs are a fancy way to say Zoom calls, okay? Zoom calls with high net worth individuals in which the artist or the artist agent is attempting to sell the work over Zoom. It was incredibly successful for the best-selling, highest ticket artists in the world. It was incredibly successful for even everyone at the bottom. But it is the future. It is the next best way. It is sell in person, can't do it. Sell via these live art shows, one-to-one or one-to-many. And the third is on the website. I believe every artist needs to understand that. I believe every artist needs to be practicing that. And if you do, you are maximizing your ability to sell and derive revenue from your business. Let's talk about the top of the pyramid. On the top of the pyramid is everything else. Meaning, once you go to work, it's sorting attention. And you do that on a daily basis. Once you understand the 3 ways to sell art and you're practicing that to the best of your ability in the situations that call for it, then comes everything else. You have a retail gallery that's working? Fantastic. Never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep that thing going, but not in lieu of, but in addition to building attention, in addition to understanding the business model and building your collector list, in addition to the 3 ways to sell art, okay? So true if you have an online gallery and maybe you have an online Saatchi Art, Redbubble, Fine Art America, eBay, I don't care, whatever it is. It's in addition to all these others, okay? What about the show and fair circuit? I love the show and fair circuit. Fantastic way to grow leads. We have a ton of tactical teaching that we do on how to maximize the ROI that you can derive from a show or a fair, but it's in addition to everything else. You take this pyramid seriously, you start working on it, and you've got a business on your hands. And, again, I go back to the fact that I run 3 of these things a week. I talk to hundreds of you guys in a week in, week out basis. And, I routinely see people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And I'm not kidding when I say this, at least 2 a month in their 90s. And why do I bring that up? Because you have to have the perspective of how unique you guys are as a species, artists and photographers, creatives at large. You don't ever go through a midlife crisis where that changes. It might move from a hobby and then you want to do it as a business again, but you guys don't change. You're artists, you're photographers, you're always going to be. That's not going to change. So when you look at that and you pair that with the fact that I have people in their 70s, in their 80s, in their 90s coming in, still asking marketing advice, still asking business advice, contemplate the perspective of how much time you guys have left to work on this business. Contemplate the perspective of how long, okay, if you truly do understand the pyramid and you are growing it year in and year out, the attention, growing your collector list year in and year out, how much of your life you have is selling art and photography left, okay? And then contemplate on a regular basis, somebody in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s comes on these calls and they're at the top of their game, the top of their craft, but they didn't understand the pyramid, did they? They went through their entire careers not cultivating attention that they own, not cultivating a collector list that they can market to. And, I sort of liken it to like, they were the executive in the corner office and I'm coming right into the executive of the corner office and I'm knocking on the desk and I'm saying, pack your things. You're going back into the mail room because you have no way to sell your art anymore. You have no way to sell your photography anymore. You never cultivated that collector list. You never cultivated attention that you owned. And so as a result of that, what are you going to do right now? Just wait till things get back to normal? Like half the galleries are closed. The other half that are open, we've heard are getting aggressive with the split. I'm sorry, the 50-50 split doesn't work anymore. We're going to do a 60-40. We're going to do a 75-25. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but we have 2,500 other artists that are waiting to get in here. Okay, talk about the show and thayer circuit. If you talk about anyone that does the show and thayer circuit, has done for years and years and years, the only way those things pay is if they are at 100% occupancy. Okay, at 50, 60, 70, the odds are not good that you're going to see an ROI out of those shows. So what's the alternative? That's like generally what is the alternative aside from figuring out that you need to be marketing and selling direct and getting to work at it? It's either hurry up and wait and hope things go back to normal at some point, or you realize that the landscape has changed. COVID has ushered in a massive change. Art is being disrupted on a daily basis as a result of it, and things aren't going back to the way they were. Fundamentally, that's what we believe as a company. Fundamentally, that's what we do. We empower artists and photographers. We teach them to market all year long. Um, and that's my rant, and I'm sort of sticking to it. I definitely want you to read the art market report, and we'll send it to you. Like I said, there's some super interesting things that I think you'll take away from that. But that's sort of my initial rant. Again, we'll send you after the fact a more in-depth demo of sort of who we are, what we do, that you guys can watch if you have some of those questions. But I think at this point, open it up to Q&A. Couple of different things that we do with Q&A. One, if you are on camera and you want to raise your hand, hey, I've got a question, myself, my team will see that. We can unmute you, bring you in, answer your questions that way. If you don't want to be on video, no problem. I hate being on video. Okay, totally get it. You can ask your questions just via audio. If you want to throw your questions in the chat, we see those. I will get those questions. I see your question, Larry. Thank you, Greg. So if you're watching on the socials, okay, this is streaming live to Facebook. It's streaming live to Twitter. It's live on YouTube. If you've got questions there, we're seeing those. We're answering those. To help me out with some questions, I've got Joseph Vasquez that heads up our outreach team. Let me just make him a co-host so he can unmute himself. He's in-depth, understands everything in terms of pricing and the inner workings of the software and all the questions that I don't have the specificity in because I'm the marketing guy. So Joseph, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. I'm Joseph. I've been with Art Storefronts here for, I guess, 4.5 years or so. So I've been at it for a while, talked to quite a few artists. So yeah, just happy to contribute and answer any questions you guys have as well.
Wonderful. So yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. Love to hear what you're struggling with. Again, if you've got questions about anything that we do in the software and the printing and the marketing education and the cost and all of that, we can get into those. But I'd also love to hear what you think you're really struggling with. What's preventing your business from taking the next step? Things were great before the pandemic. Now you're worried. You're wondering what to do. We'd love to just get into all of it. That's really the fun stuff to talk about. And Larry was saying some things. Larry, we might as well start off with you. I'm going to find you and unmute you. Okay, Larry, you're unmuted. You had, I believe, some pricing questions, which Joseph is perfect on answering. So, Larry, if you want to ask him via audio, you'll just have to hit the mic icon. It's in the bottom left hand corner, sort of your. Yep, gotcha.
Okay. Let me turn this off. Yeah, I type about everything. So, yes, I had a question.
Mhm.
First of all, you guys are great.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed. I am a professional artist,
Mhm.
degreed, and I could give you the huge resume,
Mhm.
but my stuff is going nowhere.
Yeah.
And and sorry, but I'll say I'm damn good. I need to have you. I've been in some of the best galleries in the world, and that took a hit upended.
Yeah.
So just to get down to um, bottom dollar, it's like $1,000 to join, and then 15% on sales. Is that did I get it or not?
Yeah, but pretty close. I can kind of talk about that real quick. So the minimum with our discounts right now is a minimum one-time activation of 1,000, and then it is $44 a month ongoing there, Larry.
44. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then 44 a month. And then we do have some transaction fees just for the art you sell through the store online. So anything sold offline, it doesn't apply to. but the highest is 15% there, and then they go down from there. And then that's like our initial like base option to get started. We do have options that go up on the higher end to with the current promotion. You can get it for $2,700 as a one-time fee, and then 59 a month.
Oh,
There,
I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time?
yeah, so you have the full price range. It goes up to on the high end a one-time activation of $2,700 with the current promotion, and then 59 a month ongoing. Is that level there? And the transaction fees.
That's if you don't grab this thing now.
No, that's the full range. Like you could start with the base option as low as the 1,044 as a one-time
Okay.
ongoing monthly. But we do have plans, so to speak, that go up to $2,700 as a one-time, and then 59 a month.
Well,
The
I could
transaction
handle that if
fees are
I was moving some serious art. But right now, I can get in for $1,000, 44 a month, and 15%,
correct.
and some gratuities for extras.
Yeah, and obviously after this, you could put in a request, or I don't know if you already have, and our team can go into more details for to get you specifics. But ultimately, that 1,044, it's going to have like, I almost say the essentials, like the core things you need to sell. Site that's optimized for it, tons of features, but then also the marketing plan and consulting, right? So you have the 365-day year marketing plan there. A lot of those things you need to start getting the traction you're looking for and get this rolling. Fancier features on the high end, you can always add that stuff later. Exactly. So, but everybody's different. Everybody has different needs. So you can always, of course, talk one-on-one with our team, and they'll get you more specifics for your situation. But yeah, Larry, if that's in your budget, absolutely. They'll walk you through it all and get you going.
Yeah, I mean
Well, I could feel,
the
I could feel good
pricing.
about doing that now. If things picked up to a point where I can put out the more than double that, then I would.
Yeah, it's
What
at
am I
your
going to
pace.
be?
Absolutely.
What am I going to be missing out on by not going
Early on
27 versus $1,000?
Early on, absolutely nothing. And look, the reason I bring that up is, we do the demo request process because I realize trying to explain it over the phone without the screen share and everything that Joseph has, it gets a little confusing. But the larger point is that you have a marketing problem. We need to fix a marketing problem. We charge what we
Yes.
do because we figured out what it takes to solve the marketing problem for artists and photographers. It takes a 365-day-a-year calendar in which we tell you to do week in, week out, what to post on socials, what emails to send, when to have a sale, when to do regular marketing. Then we have to have the DIY education. Here's how you run a sale. Here's how you post on Facebook. Here's how you post on Instagram. Here's how you have a live art show. Then that's not enough. We have to have week in, week out Zoom sessions just like this where we teach you how to do the thing, and then we do Q&A just like right now. Hey, Patrick, I'm struggling with this particular part of the sale. Can you explain it? Yes. Myself, my team explains it to you. Those go on week in, week out for life. We are essentially an art business university in which there are no graduates. There are no graduates because the learning will never stop for as long as you're a customer. And the reason that we
That's the
do
way it
that,
should be.
yes, no, it's mandatory. Number one, I have to get all of you to be able to do the regular marketing stuff, okay? And that takes some time. Most of you don't know how to capture emails. Most of you are not normally emailing your list. Most of you are not posting regularly on the socials. Most of you are not running live art shows. Most of you are not running sales. If you are running sales, you don't understand the mechanics of running sales. So one, I got to get you through basic boot camp so you just understand all of those things. And then two, the doggone goalposts are moving so quickly in this particular industry. It is staggering, okay? And that will never change. The minute you learn something, they've moved the damn goalposts again, right? And I go to this concept of the live art shows. The live art shows weren't even a thing a year ago. Now they're one of the most significant, biggest things that have happened to this industry since forever. And the ball's constantly moving there, right? So
But where do you have them?
you have them, you can have them right at your house. You have them right at your house. I mean, like the example that I showed you earlier, and I mean, not to get too distracted on this, but this particular gentleman, and I can show you examples of this ad nauseum. I mean, this one, he's in an actual retail gallery because he had a show in a retail gallery. This particular one is in his basement. This is where he paints, in his basement. And this particular gentleman sold over a 15-day period 66 pieces for $30,000 Canadian. He had to ship after he was done pieces to his native Canada, to the United States. He had to ship a couple pieces to Central America. He had to ship a couple pieces to Asia and to Europe. Now he has a following. He's been at this for a while. Let me show you another gal. This is Meg. Okay. She's got 6,600 followers. Not a tremendous amount of followers on Instagram. She had a basement sale. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and play this. I got to mute this. Same concept. Okay. She's just in her house with a bunch of work. Now, in her case, in this particular sale, it was a different deal. She was moving between studios. Okay. So in this particular thing, she has a bunch of color studies and in between pieces and this and that. They're not the full dog and pony. But, you know, if you remember, as I talked about this guy's book in the collector list, her, in Meg's case, she had, and don't worry, I'm going to send you these things after the fact. I want you guys to watch them. In her case, she had 84 pieces in the show. And by the way, before the show even happened, her collectors bought 46% of this show. 46% of this show. And so this is the future, and this is the stuff that, like, you know, we are constantly learning. We are constantly pushing the envelope. Okay. And I go back to the tradecraft, like, notice this guy. Okay. One, he's got earbuds in, right? Two, the AirPods are connected to an iPhone. The iPhone is connected to Instagram. You can only use a phone to go live on Instagram. You can see also, though, that this is on YouTube, and there's software here because you can see number 5, El Greco, and you can see it's got his logo, and you can see that it's pulling comments in. And, you know, you look and you see, like, well, wait a minute, there's numbers here on a sheet. Why is that? Because you have graphics on this particular version, but you don't on Instagram. And I don't mean to go down the rabbit hole, but my whole point of why we charge what we charge is because you guys need this continuing marketing education, and you will never not stop needing it. Okay. No one ever taught you to build or market an art business. The galleries took care of that for you. And specifically in your case, Larry, took care of it quite well, right? But the game has changed. The game has changed. So that's
I was in one of the best galleries in Austin.
Yeah.
Right on Congress, 2 blocks from the Capitol.
Awesome.
Capitol Fine Arts. And they shut down.
Yeah.
Not only because of COVID, but because of you're in Austin, are you?
Majority of our company. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. You know what happened with the traffic? You can't park downtown.
No.
So there were some people couldn't even come. So they had to close their doors. And I'm going, wow, man, you know, I had a thing going on here. Austin changed and now I don't.
Yeah.
So, you know, this needs to happen for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited about everything that you say.
Yeah.
So I'm good to go. So
Yep.
Thank you very much for the explanations, and I'm sure we'll see each other real soon.
Love it.
I went. You're familiar with Laguna and Niguel?
Yeah. So I actually live in Newport Beach. So Laguna Niguel is only 20 minutes south of me.
Well, you know, it's an art mecca.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing comes off the wall for less than $30,000.
Mhm.
So I'm down there, and they're gonna push some of my art, but then changes in personnel, blah blah, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it was. I saw a whole different world in what can happen with marketing and pricing on your work.
Yeah.
And I want to become one of your superstars. And,
Love it.
And work with everybody else as well. You know,
Yeah.
Artists have always, at least in my world, worked together. So,
yeah, that's the beautiful thing of your industry, and also like the beautiful thing of what we get to do, right? Because, you know, it's not a zero-sum game. One artist is not competing against another artist, right? And you can't price shop artists because the pricing is completely arbitrary, and it's a creative, emotional purchase, right? So it gives us the opportunity to teach all of you guys collectively, and you don't have to feel like, well, I don't want to teach anyone else this. This is my little secret, right? Like, no, it's not a zero-sum game, right? Like, you guys are not competing with one another. All you're doing is just competing to get attention, and, you know, like, the customers that you would have are not going to be the customers that Greg would have. That's just not the way it works. I mean, there's a little bit of crossover, but that's sort of the awesome thing about it.
One thing, I'll tell off on myself. I need to pick up my speed. I need to crank out more work.
Mhm.
I went to gallery number 2 after gallery number 1 in Laguna crashed on me.
Mhm.
So, but they said, we won't take you unless you turn at least 3 pieces a week. And hey, I paint oils for number 1. I paint large for number 2, and I paint real fucking good for number 3.
Yeah.
So, I'm not cranking out 3 a week. Sometimes I might be able to at different sizes, but you know, it's not I'm not running a puppy mill.
Yes.
Okay.
Understood.
So, anyway, just throwing that out. And then where you show the wall and all that.
Mm-hmm.
My one of my family members is into making their paintings work with their wall paint.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Wherever you hang the Mona Lisa, it doesn't make any difference, man. Whether it's orange or black or green or orange, it's the painting that counts.
That's right.
But letting people look at it is certainly something good for them because that's what a lot of them want.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm glad you got that figured out, even though I disagree with the philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so what Larry's talking about is we have a tool called the wall preview tool, right? And we have a whole bunch of these tools, and the idea is that there's all of these points during an art transaction online where somebody could get hung up, right? And visualizing the piece on the wall is one of them. So we have a tool that gives you these various different rooms and lets you see the art, on the wall. What you can also do is change the color of the walls, right? And so it's like, okay, this is the color of my wall. Will it work? Okay, the piece looks good, right? And we have all the colors on here, the best selling colors from Sherman Williams and Benjamin Moore. So it's just another tool in the arsenal. It's like the game of golf. You need an entire bag full of clubs, right? You need a whole bunch of various different things because you're just looking to remove the friction from the process anywhere that you can, right? Like we have videos that explain what the prints actually look like, right? Like what's the difference between, a traditional paper print and an acrylic print? Like is that going to be the game changer? This one should be a video. I don't know what he's got going on there. But is that the game changer? No. It's never one thing. It's all of these things working in concert to trying to get the sale over the line. So it's a lot of what we do.
In the golf analogy, is the marketing the driver?
Well, no, the golf analogy is just you need a bag full of clubs, right? Like you need all of these various different features on your website because you never know which one is actually going to get the sale over the line for you. So,
Sure.
yeah. But I like the analogy. But yes, Larry, we can help you. We'd love to see you on the inside. Have you already requested a demo or no? He's muted himself, I think. We'll have somebody reach out to you, Larry. Somebody on Joseph's team will jump in. Okay, Steven, I'm going to grab you next, see whether or not we answered your questions. And you'll need to unmute Steven Malinsky.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey, look, my question seemed to be the same as Larry, so that's all. And you answered it.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Forgot what my question was. That had something to do with the price. What do you get extra for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just more features.
I'll find that out.
Yeah. Our team will walk you through and explain all the features and what they do, and then you guys can just see what works for you and get started wherever's comfortable.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna mute it again.
Okay. Thanks, Steven. No worries. Okay, next I'll get you, Matthew. Let me find you. All right, Matthew. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you, Matthew. Are you there?
Hey, yes. Yeah, and I think you guys answered the question already. Is just, and on the one-on-ones, you'll go more in depth on what's offered.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, really, at the end of the day, like we have people that flip it both ways, right? Like, and we have a customer that talks about it. He's like, the $1,000 down fee was what I paid to get my website. What I pay monthly is to get all the marketing support. We normally flip it the other way, but that's essentially what you get. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the lengths that we go to educate you on marketing, right? And not only to educate you on marketing, but to support you. Like you get support 6 days a week, which you can pop into a Zoom call. And not only can you have questions about what's going on in your website or anything thereof, but you can ask us if you've got problems on your Instagram account or your Facebook account or a problem with MailChimp. And our tech team will jump on a screen share, look at whatever you have going on and get you fixed and get you unstuck. So it's 100% of it is just running an art business university and never stopping, and that's how it goes. Okay, Shockey, you're up next. Oh, wait, Matthew, did you have anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this is my first time ever even doing something like this, so I'm really like, I the previous clients I said basically the things that I wanted to say, and I'm interested in being a superstar as well.
Love it.
My question was, I think I heard you just touch on it early on. If I want to use like my first proceeds to immediately upgrade to that service, like what is the penalty going to be?
Zero. You can,
It's a,
yeah, you can,
oh, awesome,
you
awesome,
can
awesome.
upgrade or
And
downgrade
my
at any
other,
time.
that is so awesome. You guys are great.
Well,
You
thank you.
guys are great, and I'm coming in at just the right time too, because I do have my own facility. I'm a tattoo artist, and I also have a huge room that is attached that I'll be using as my gallery, and also to do my painting sips. But my question was for instance, like maybe if an author had different styles of writing and they were able to have different pen names. If I have different styles of painting, like am I able to put that like and would I be allowed to like keep those accounts separate and have
100%. We are definitely not
cool.
we are not dictators, but I would say no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Shaki, and I'll tell you why. Because
Okay.
attention is the currency of the land, right? And
Okay.
the last thing that you want to do is have a bunch of brands, and I'm going to mute you, Ashaki, because that TV is getting loud in the background. The last thing that you want to do is make it so you have to build 3 different entities. So let's say like you had Ashaki was your name for your tattoo work, and then you had some other art style and some other art style, and you've got 3 different names. Well, that just gets confusing. That just gets super confusing, and you're splitting the attention. And then also too, this is like a common thing that artists and photographers always say, is that they think that the brand of what they create is just about the work, and nothing could be further from the truth. Whoever you are, artist or photographer, what makes you tick, what you like, you holding up to pieces, your sense of humor is as important to the brand, okay, as is whatever you're creating. So you don't want to split the attention, Ashaki. You want to, you don't want 3 different Facebook pages and 3 different websites and 3 different Instagram accounts. I mean, that is a headache. Keep it simple, right? It's Ashaki. Here's all the stuff that she does. You start in on your marketing. You don't know what's going to take off amongst those 3 different styles, and you never will know what's going to take off amongst those 3 styles until you start marketing them. Once you do start marketing them, one of 2 things happens. Either one of them takes off and you're like, okay, I'm actually going all in on this, or you get an even spread amongst all 3 of them, in which case, keep calm and carry on, my dear. Keep doing all 3 of them. People like you. They like what you're putting out. They like your style. They like your personality, aside from that loud TV in the background. Shaki, okay? Can we talk about that loud TV? So that's what they do. They love everything that you do, and you just keep putting it out, right? Like that's the awesome thing about how this rolls along as it goes. But I'm going to unmute you again in case you have any follow-ups.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm sorry about the loud TV. Like I said, I've never done this before,
No, it's all
and
good.
I'm actually at the laundromat, so sorry.
No, all good.
But
all good.
no, really, like, and that's what we're paying you guys for, to know better than us, because
Exactly.
artists are artists. We have a different kind of brain, so that's why I'm really thankful that I'm about to join with you guys, and I'm going to be pushing my date up to join. I'm going to be pushing that up. This video did serve to be exactly what I needed, to let me know what you guys offer, and I'm just really thankful for that today.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashaki. Appreciate you. All right, next up, Greg, you've got a couple in the chat, so I'm just going to unmute you. We'll get into yours next. And you'll need to unmute, Greg. I'll let you know when you get it. Microphone, bottom left-hand corner. Yep, gotcha.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I am so impressed with you.
Wow, thank you.
I'm going to compliment you.
Well, I appreciate
I've
it.
been in marketing and sales for years. I do drip email marketing campaigns, do all kinds of other stuff, but I'm also a serious oil painter.
Okay.
And I'm utterly interested in understanding, why should I spend $2,000 upfront and so forth, because I've been an oil painter for 30 years. It's my secret. I've never tried to sell my oil paintings.
Okay.
I've had parties, people that come to my house and they say, I'd like to buy that oil painting for $5,000. And I say, oh, go learn more about art.
What? Stop that immediately. That's step number 1. If somebody says, I've got $5,000 I want to buy, you say, Cash, credit, MasterCard, PayPal, Venmo, COD, no problem. Let's do this.
They pay cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Sell that.
I'm a private person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You understand that because you've been in this business.
Totally do. Totally do.
But now I have probably 20 to 30 paintings
Mhm.
that are professional level,
Mhm.
and I want to start selling copies of them.
Yep. But not the originals.
That's yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I'm involved in an association in Tulsa, Oklahoma, although I live in California.
Mhm.
They've got a gallery, and it's the Universalist Church.
Mhm.
They said, "Oh my God, you can have access and fill our whole gallery just with your paintings because they're so amazing."
Incredible.
But I want to understand, how can I monetize some of these?
Yeah. So the good news for you is you'll have a leg up because you already have some experience in marketing, but you need to work on the marketing piece first and foremost.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
You're so totally right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's how you would get the word out there. Where
By the way, my business now is I'm a drip marketing specialist.
Mhm.
I'm selling several software products.
Okay.
I'm making 4,000 to 6,000 a month just from doing drip marketing.
Awesome.
So I know how to do it. My questions, and I've been really, you see me before. I'm very interested in you.
Mhm.
And so I'm saying, okay, how do I potentially work with you? And are you worth the upfront price and other questions like that to do the artwork? Because I'm pretty busy.
Yep. So and Joseph, you might answer it differently. Here's how I'd answer it. We are only worth it if you are committed to learning how to market and you're in it for the long run. If you are, we're massively worth it. If
Oh, that's what I am about.
Yeah.
I do only long-term stuff.
Okay. If it's long term, then it's the biggest no brainer in the history of mankind. We don't really have any competition. And that's not flattering to us. There's just not anyone else that works all day on trying to solve this problem and this problem alone. Right. It's what we're monomaniacally focused on doing. So, if and I say this all the time, like, we get some people that are like, the very, very few that sign up and end up being disappointed. The one thing they all have consistently is they just don't do the work at all, for the most part, I would
Okay.
say. And
I can understand exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying there.
yeah, like, it's not easy. The first year especially is not easy. Like, I don't pull punches. Like, first year
Okay.
sucks. You have to learn how to do a bunch of stuff and you have to
The
do it
challenges
consistently.
that I need to address are, I need to take high quality digital
Yeah,
photos.
that's not a challenge at all. We have a guy that is a customer that used to do it for Sotheby's for like 15 years. He's wrote an in-depth article. April's putting it in the chat now, and it's already there, and we'll send it to you after the fact.
That's number one.
Mhm.
And how many hours would it take me to do 30 to 40 pieces of artwork?
I wouldn't even do it yourself. I would hire somebody to just come and do it in your garage all in one swoop. And you can find them on Craigslist, and it's really easy.
Okay. So I would need advice on that.
Yep.
With that, you've got the content. Either I or you build the website. I build Wix, I
Mhm.
build GoDaddy. I
Mhm.
know website development really well.
Yep. It's pretty easy. Most people get their sites live in 14 days or less. You're not reinventing the wheel with us.
So I can do that.
Yeah.
Then I am really good at drip email marketing. I'm doing it for several of my customers
Mhm.
where I'm dealing with, every day 30 to 50 new leads.
Yeah.
And I push them into the email marketing drip campaigns. I use something called Send in Blue
Mhm.
because Send in Blue is out of Paris, France.
Mhm.
I can have 30 to 40,000 emails a month that I send out.
Yep. Don't care. Until you have people that until you have people that you actually want to email that are interested in your work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's not in my art area, it's my business where I am, selling 2D animation software where they give me 30 leads a day. And I'm in charge of marketing to them and seeing if I can close them. So I'm really good at that. So
Okay.
how do I take my artwork and turn it into a business using all the skills that I currently have?
What were you gonna say, Joseph?
I was gonna say marketing, right? I mean, you need to start building up a list of people who are interested in buying your art. Really, is the key there.
Right.
I don't know that
That's
that's gonna be
always
the
the
same list that
question.
you're working now, but yeah, that's basically what our marketing plan is built for. You know, you kind of said why do us? I mean, you're getting help with kind of the three components, you know, that you really need to help build a business. And so it's just easy to plug in our website, you setting it up. It's going to be about the same skill level as a Wix or Squarespace.
Right.
That'll be easy. But when we add features that are just aligned with what you need. You know, anytime we add something, it's designed to help everyone build and sell more art and build more following. And then marketing plan, you know, you have a good grip on like marketing, but here we'll just save you a ton of time. There's templates for the emails. You're not writing things from scratch, so you can just execute. And so here it's almost like hiring an assistant, and instead of you trying to build a website and try and make it work for selling art, and then try and see what marketing you should be doing specifically for the art, and then also have we have a whole
And that,
workshops and everything else where you can get help. You can just plug into that, and it'll just save you a ton of time. So it just will shower you with value, I guess, is what I'm saying
Seth,
here.
your statement is great. Because I'm really busy with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We all are. We all are. That is for sure.
And I've
life.
got several other software companies I do marketing for, but I've always loved art. And I've created art. And some people say it's really good. I want to understand, how can I, make it available to the world? That's what I'm interested in.
The making it available part is really easy. Getting the world to see it part is the harder.
I agree with you. Patrick, I've learned about you a lot over the last 6 months. I am totally impressed with you. You're an amazing marketing person.
Well, I really appreciate that. I've been doing it for a long time. So
So have I.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've started 4 software companies.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to understand. It take me 6 to 9 months. I want to understand, how can I work with you that makes economic sense within my art space as opposed to my other spaces?
Yeah, what I would do is I would just request a demo and get on with the outreach team, someone from Joseph's team, and they'll walk you through all the bells and whistles.
The most important thing is, how do I produce high quality photographs of my artwork that you can use to go into your drip and drop?
Yep. We'll send you the article after the fact. You can read it. But what I would, like I said,
that's what's most important to me right now, because I've now been really focusing on that.
It's really easy. You're making it into a much bigger problem than it is. I mean,
That'd be great.
because you're in California, you put a post on Craigslist and you say, looking for a photographer that has photographed art before for fine art reproduction. If that's you, send me what you shot and let me know. And for a couple $100, they will come and you will hang all 30 pieces up in the garage. Yep.
I can do that, but I got about 30 to 40 pieces that I want to have at the quality level that you can use for doing the reproductions and sending the responses to the people that are interested.
Yep. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple.
That's good. Number 2 is, of course, how do I use your website to do it? Now, I'm really experienced. I build websites on Wix, on GoDaddy, and a couple of Squarespace and others. I don't have a demo of how can I work with your website environment, because you built it yourself. To do it, I would like a demo on what can I do so that I can update, every 2 or 3 days what's going on there.
Yeah, you have, it's easy. We have all the bells and whistles you can change and update at any point in time.
But
if you've done Wix.
I want to see it, and I don't know how to see it.
Yeah. So we'll send you, April will put some examples, Greg, in the chat for you that you can check out. We'll also email them after the fact. And then That's part of what the demo process is they walk you through the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Cool. I would
We'll
love
walk you
that.
through
And I thank you so much.
Yeah.
And again, Patrick, you're one of the best marketing people I've met in a while.
I really appreciate that, Greg. You're awesome. Thank you. What were you going to say, Joseph?
Well, I was going to tell Greg, we'll absolutely, if they'll walk you through. One of my team members will walk you through like a screen share, show you how to upload an image. They're going to show you a lot of that stuff. So you'll see all that before you get started. And the other thing, Greg, you wouldn't be the only marketer we have that's joined us. I mean, there's a lot of people. I always say the chef doesn't want to come home and cook again. You don't want to write emails from scratch. You do that for a living. So here you can just plug in and work off of what we have. So a lot of people love that.
Awesome. One of the things that we're supposed to do on these things is get some qualitative feedback for how the presentation is and how we're doing. So I'm launching a poll on the screen. It's totally anonymous. I won't know that you voted, but if you guys did vote, I would appreciate it. And it just says, how would you rate today's session? It can be meh, meaning like, yeah, whatever. Solid, okay, great, middle of the road, amazing, amazing. So I appreciate you guys voting on that. But yeah, we'll send you some examples. Who else, guys, in terms of questions? I did have one on the socials, which was interesting, which is Rondell was asking, like, his wife is a working photographer as well as artist. And it was sort of along the lines of, Ashira's question, like, what do you do in that particular situation? Do you split the brands or do you combine the brands? Yes, I am 100% always combine all the brands into one. And that's what we can do. Oh, I love this question, Gary. Gary's asking me to talk about SEO. I love talking about SEO. I love talking about SEO because I hate SEO. But let's get into it. What are your thoughts first, Gary, on SEO? Do you have the sense that that's an important traffic source?
Yeah, I think SEO is very important. And I was curious, I don't know all the ins and outs about your company yet. I'm going to investigate more.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about lead capture. I mean, there's a lot of artists out there who are wanting to reach out to more people beyond their influence. And how do you guys go about doing that? Is it through the social media or what?
Yeah, I love where your head's at because how many leads you capture, you can essentially judge the size of an art business within reason based on how many leads the artist or photographer has, or any business for that matter. So in terms of lead capture, one, obviously our software is optimized to do it, and two, we teach you how to grow that list all year long. And we have some conventional tactics that would make sense and be obvious to most people, and then we have some very hacky things that we only teach our customers because you market for any period of time, and what you start to realize is that it's all about arbitrage. The minute that you figure out some new thing is the best it'll ever produce, and then every day gets worse and worse and worse because marketers ruin absolutely everything, right? So we teach you to capture email all year long. And one of the benefits that I have of being in my position in this and then having the 5,500 customers and looking at all their data is I can tell you conclusively, you probably don't need to worry about SEO. The ship has sailed on SEO. And going what I said earlier, like marketers ruin everything and the arbitrage gets sucked out of the room. When we talk about SEO, one, let's just boil it down, like, who are the artists that are making a tremendous amount of money out of organic searches that are put into Google that are not their name, that are not, Gary, how do I say it? Shatan?
Yes.
Gary Shatan art, right?
Shatan.
Like, let's boil that portion of it out, right? Because if someone puts your name in the search engine, that's different. They already knew about you. They're not even a cold lead. But whatever art you do, okay, you have to first ask yourself, is this something that has a tremendous amount of search volume? If the answer is no, SEO is not worth it for the most part. Is it highly competitive terms, right? Would somebody even have buying intent if they search for that search term? And then ultimately, you have to contrast the amount of time, energy, and effort that you would put into SEO versus all of the other available marketing techniques out there. And you have to ask yourself the question, what is going to provide the greatest ROI, return on investment, on the time that I've spent on it? And for most folks, SEO is not it. In addition to that, everyone thinks SEO is just you magically put in a meta description and some keywords, and all of a sudden Google finds you and just sends buyers your way. Number one, that's not the way art is sold primarily. Number two, That used to be the case if you got into it 18 years ago, but not now. Number 3, in order for you to actually build your rankings, your SEO rankings, you have to work on a daily basis to get more links to your site with those keywords as the anchor text. That is very difficult to do, and the real abstraction of it is it's still a massive amount of work. And so when I look at SEO and I lay SEO out as a traffic source and I compare and I contrast it to these other sources, especially Facebook and Instagram, I do not see the ROI of $1 of an hour, $1, whatever you want, spent on SEO returning the same for your business as I do on Facebook and Instagram. So I can tell you conclusively, stop wasting your time on it. The ROI is not going to be there, right? It's a premise that's been sold, and I hate it because everyone constantly is getting pitched it. Oh, my cousin knows somebody, $2,500 to get you listed in all these directories. And what do? You pay it. They're the biggest snake oil salesman in this business. So many artists have been taken on it. So many photographers. It infuriates me. Okay. And art is not sold that way, right? Like this is like one of the fundamental aspects of when you're in this business for long enough. In our head, we think, people are just out there. And let me use the example of 100 people, right? We think if I could just get my art in front of 100 people, i.e. SEO, right? These people are going to type into the search engine there because they want art of bridges in Pittsburgh. And so they're going to type bridges in Pittsburgh photography, and they are looking for art that they're going to buy instantaneously. And art doesn't sell that way. People are not just randomly flipping their fingers and thumbs through Facebook or Instagram, seeing something and going, boom, I'm going to buy it right now. You know how it actually does happen? I'm flipping through Instagram or Facebook and I see a Gary Shatan piece and I'm like, that was interesting. And then I promptly ignore it. And then I end up in your warm audience list, and because I interacted with the photo on your Facebook page, and then a couple of weeks later I see another post from you, and I see your name again, and then a month later I see your artwork again, and I'm like, this is actually interesting. I'm going to get on his email list, and then you email me for 6 months, and then I just moved out of the suburbs, or I just moved out of the downtown because I can't deal with COVID nonsense. Moving to the suburbs, I have a big house, and I'm like, I need some art. Okay, and that took 9 months, and that's how art is sold. It's not spur of the moment. Let me just go to the search engine and find something, right? So Facebook and Instagram are just are higher ROI marketing venues now. And ultimately being good at marketing is just understanding the arbitrage of attention. If I was a fisherman, I would go to where the fish are. I'm a marketer, so I go where the attention is. That's on Facebook and Instagram right now primarily, and that's one of the big areas that we teach you to market in.
Well, let's expand your description of Instagram, because I do post on Instagram almost daily. And my
What's
followers aren't as high.
what's your handle? What's your handle?
Gary Shatan.
Okay, all one word. Will you spell Shatan just because I'm in a different screen? I can't see it.
Schatan.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look. Get myself out of it here. Get you out of it. Okay, so 288 followers. You're just getting started, I assume. Kind of taking a look. What would you say your main photographic style is? Like, what do you?
I'd say street photography.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, it kind of runs the gamut here.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is personal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is just my work from over, I hate to say it, 50 years.
No, don't hate to say it. You earned it. You earned it, brother. Don't hate to say it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. As a matter of fact, yeah. So I've, traveled a lot, and so it's kind of a stream of consciousness that I put up there.
Yep. Total mixed bag. Like, look, early on too, because you're just starting to market it and you're just starting to show it off. Like, you don't know what's going to stick out of that whole bunch, right? It's too early to know. You don't know what's going to stick and what's going to resonate. So, you show a bunch of the different pieces. Now, one of the primary fundamental flaws that I'm missing in this, independent of some more photos of you instead of just the work, although I do see some in there, but let me grab one.
I'm in there. Yeah.
There's none of these. There's none of you holding a piece that's actually going to go on my wall. Everyone thinks like, "Ooh, I'm posting images." An image doesn't go on my wall. This goes on my wall. Okay, it's an image that's printed on something, and there's hangers on the back. This is the final end product that we're selling, right? We're not selling. We're not just selling images, right? Until you get a bunch of those on your site, it's very hard for people to visually think of this as anything other than just a wonderful Instagram photo. But let me tell you, go through a feed. There are millions of photos. All it is photo after photo after photo. So start with the end product in mind, get some prints made, and at least start letting people know that, you know, you've got stuff available to sell, right? Like to go on my wall, because that's what I'm buying. I'm buying something that goes on my wall, not something that, you know, that is just an image on Instagram. But other than that, you know, same as everything else, you got the marketing problem. I'm now looking at your story. I love that you're doing stories.
Now, do you guys showing ways to explode the Instagram,
Oh,
or
of
is it
course.
all
Oh, yes.
organic?
Oh, yeah. No, of course. No. Yes. It's fundamental of what we teach, right? Like, you know, how to market, how to get better on Instagram, how to market, how to get better on Facebook, how to run a live art show on Instagram, how to talk about your process on Instagram, how to talk about an individual photo. I mean, everything, all of it, nonstop.
Okay,
And it'll be that way.
so our work is shown on your website, or and then there's a link to ours.
No,
Is that
you own the website, right? You own the email list. You own all of it. We just teach you to grow the following that gets to it. But the artist owns everything with us, or the photographer owns everything with us.
okay? So you're saying we use the website we already utilize.
No. You get a website with us, but it's, you know,
Oh, okay.
it's GaryShatan.com, right? It's not like, you know, it's like some marketplace.
Well, I'd like to hear more about that. You know,
Mhm.
what you guys are putting in that package.
Yeah.
So there's a website, and then there's all the, you know, personal one-on-ones that you guys do, which is
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
And then what else as far as the website, you know, the tangible things?
Yeah, so website super tangible. Obviously, we sort the print on demand for you, meaning we integrate with various different printers across the United States. Bay Photo on the
Okay.
West Coast, Graphic Conventions on the East Coast, also a merch partner. So all you do is you upload your stuff, and instantaneously, when you get an order, you get paid, printer gets paid, printer order gets printed, shipped. You don't have to touch anything, and then all the rest of it is just a tangible marketing education that never stops, and it's everything. It's a calendar, it tells you what to do 365 days a year. That's tangible. The do-it-yourself courses on all the various different aspects of marketing, that's tangible. And then the weekly meetings, right, where you're in a room with your peers learning how to do the thing that we're teaching, and everyone's going through it together, you know, also tangible. And then the support, which is also incredibly tangible and important. So anytime you get
Yeah,
stuck, yeah,
that is.
it's
Yeah.
so important. And it's so important to have it via video and not like a phone call to someone on the other side of the planet that doesn't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we also have a private community
Yeah.
of all of our artists and photographers where if you're working through something and you have questions, you can get help from them because, you know, generally if you've run into a problem, one of our other photographers or artists has too, and you can get some help and some guidance there too. So it's just all of that together. It's really great.
Okay. And where do we see reviews on uh, your company?
Love it. Hit the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Hit the Facebook page, and there's a reviews tab, and I love talking about it. I would show you how to do this, except when you do it on the stream, Facebook doesn't let you turn it into an ad after the fact. So, um, Facebook, everyone knows Amazon, right? Everyone shopped on Amazon, and you read the reviews on Amazon, and you never know if those people are real or they're shills or what's going on, and you always kind of wonder, right? How
Right.
cool would it be if you could go into the Amazon reviews and you could see a review that resonated with you and contact that person and ask a follow-up question? That's what Facebook is. It's amazing for the companies that have the temerity to actually have reviews and don't have it shut off because anyone can leave one. So we get harassed every once in a while. But you can go to the reviews tab on our Facebook page, scroll up and down those lists. They are all real people. Click on their name, click send message, and instantaneously ask them questions about us. Completely
Okay, I have
transparent on
another
that.
question then.
Yep.
Because I do have a Facebook page.
Yep.
And I keep it kind of personal. I keep it restricted.
Mhm.
But then if I'm doing my photography or my artwork, then that would require another Facebook page.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because the reason being because your personal page caps out at 2,000 friends, right? And a business page, you can go all the way up the chain, right? So, you know, if you're going to sign up with us and start marketing, we're going to assume that you're going to get above that 2,000 threshold in short order, and then want to continue to grow it. So you have to have a business page.
And do you suggest boosting things on Facebook?
In the Bible, there are 10 commandments. In my world, commandment number 11 is thou shalt not boost posts on Facebook and Instagram. Ever, ever, ever. I will come over to your house. You can put all that money in a jar, and I will come over with a nice bottle of scotch, and you can light that money on fire in your backyard. At least we'll get some warmth off of it. Okay? Do not do that. Waste of time, energy, and effort, and money for a whole bunch of different reasons.
All right.
But of course, we teach how to do Facebook ads and Instagram ads. They're a very important aspect, but you need to work on your marketing first, such that you have all of these processes in place before you're even ready to enter the discussion about Facebook and Instagram ads, because you'll never see an ROI if you're not doing all the other normal marketing activities. And so that's sort of
Here's another interesting question for artists out there, and I'm sure what you were talking about, your artist client community that
Mhm.
you guys have through your company,
Yep.
is that how to curate what you're putting there, on your site, because especially photographers have tons of images.
100% not
And
100% not a problem in the slightest. 100% not a problem in the slightest. And this is a normal one of those tropes that you fall into. You think in your mind like, okay, I'm going to go through my whole collection and all of this stuff that I have, and once I figure out, the right way to organize it and put it into galleries, then I'll launch and then I'll get going. And guess what happens? The hours turn into days, turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. Still curating that gallery, are you? Still curating that gallery? This happens again and again and again to everybody.
hard,
And
man. Editing is hard.
yeah, but the flawed premise of it is that you somehow are going to know how to set up the curation of that gallery without ever getting any feedback. Okay. You don't know. You are not smarter than your audience. None of us are. And you learn that lesson the hard way over the years. And I can't tell you how many times I have. We're sitting here worrying about all these things. Okay. The constant analogy that I give is that you are a boat on the bank of a river, ready to be launched into the water. Instead of launching the boat in the water and seeing whether or not the damn thing can float, you're worried about the color of the curtains inside the galley, and you're changing them from one to the other. Does this one look good or does this one look good? And then you're varnishing the back of the boat, okay? And then you're looking at the sails and pulling them out. I couldn't possibly get, no, 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 no. Stop with the nonsense. Push that damn boat into the water and let's see whether or not it floats, okay? If it floats, then we can start figuring out some other
There
things.
you go.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
can't make these decisions in a vacuum. You don't know what you don't know. The only reason you will figure it out is if you start marketing. You put up all of the galleries in whatever way you think is best. Do not spend more than 6 minutes on the damn decision, then go and market for a year. Then we're going to come back and we're going to look at your data. We're going to say, out of those 6 galleries, you had 10,000 people come to the site and they only entered 2 of them. Well, guess what? You're in that 2 gallery business and the other 4 are out. I just solved your organization problem with actual data from actual humans. It's the ball game. I know it sounds so clear when you have it all like laid out like that, but then you're like, damn, I still have to go do the work. It's like, yep,
Yeah.
you do. You do.
All right.
All right. I didn't mean to pick on you. I get fired up about these things. I get fired up about these things, Gary, I tell you.
I can tell.
I do. Because again, like, it's pattern recognition. It's not hyperbole. Like I've had hundreds of these conversations over the last year, and the same thing comes up again and again and again and again and again. And it's like there's no forward step or no forward progress, which I don't want to see. I want you leaving here saying, okay, I can't BS myself anymore. If I want to take this seriously and I want to make a business out of it, I'm not going to be curating my gallery and organizing it and contemplating what my styles are. I don't give a damn. Grab a shoebox if you've got a bunch of old negatives out, scan them, and let's launch with those. Let's go. Okay, because it's a reversible decision. If that gallery didn't work, we can take it down and we can go into the next one. And you're going to be sitting around asking yourself, well, if I just get this organized and maybe I'll just spend a couple hours here, and nothing ever gets done. You have to get it up, you have to get it live, and you have to get feedback. That's the path. It is straight up.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate
All
you, Gary,
good.
and I want you to do it. And also, too, that's part of what you get with us. Like, is there poking and prodding? Yes, there is. Is there some screaming and shouting? Within reason, okay, within reason, but a little bit, right? But then also too, we, and this is like a little inside baseball, but prior to the pandemic hitting, okay, maybe February last year, we had the great DIY education. We had the great Facebook group, right? We had some of these things sorted out. And what we didn't have sorted out was the community teaching piece. And if you're not going through all of these various different exercises with your peers, it is hard. You guys are solopreneurs. This is a lonely road, right? Like you don't have back office staff or interns or any of these types of things that'll help you bounce your ideas off people. So when you're going through in concert, okay, concurrently with a bunch of other people that are trying to achieve the same objectives you are, they'll be like, oh, Gary, I was stuck on that thing for 6 months. Here's what I did and I'm done, right? And then you go have a little offline conversation with them and they'll be like, let's go, right? Like that's totally how it goes. And it is so fundamentally powerful, right? Like I'm terrified, Patrick, of going on live video. I'm never going to go on live video. I would have to get, the hair and the lighting and everything else. And then some person who has a face for radio just talks about how they did a live art show. They were nervous. They spilled wine all over themselves. The internet went out. Their partner was streaming Netflix. The quality was crappy, but they had fun and they sold 6 pieces. And you're like, you know what? Damn it. If they can do it, I can do it. Right. And there's something that's powerful about going through it with a bunch of others that are all trying to figure out the same thing at once. It just, you can't do this stuff in a vacuum. You can't do this stuff in a vacuum. So people wonder why we charge what we charge, because how the heck else are we going to support all of those types of activities on a regular basis? It's not easy. Like, there's a lot of facilitation to do, but ultimately, like, look, we need successful customers. It's the only way we know how to make successful customers, right? So yeah, that's my rant. Yeah, the pricing is easy, Gary, and it's a reversible decision. You start out with pick a price, start out with what you like, go market it. Did you sell anything? Yes or no? If the answer is no, sometimes you can go up and it will sell, but you might have to go down, right? Like, I always cite, there's this Pablo Picasso interview, and someone came and asked Pablo a question and said, I'm an aspiring artist. I'm just getting started. What advice do you have for me in terms of pricing my work? And Pablo's like, early on, my work did not command high prices, but you know what? It all moved. It all sold. And he goes, your work has to get out into the world, meaning it needs to move. So I'm very much a fond of early on, lower the doggone price until it does. If you've got somebody on the line and they're looking at it and they're like, okay, this is kind of cool, but I think I'm okay for today, say, well, just make me an offer. Make me an offer. What would you pay for any of these things? I'm just curious. And you find out, right? And you find out, is that something that's worthwhile, that's working or not? And then also too, you can raise your prices or lower your prices at any point in time. It's a completely reversible decision. So don't get hung up on decisions that are not reversible. And again, sometimes raising the prices helps, right? Like, people derive a degree of status and sophistication based on how much they paid for something. So it's very easy. It's you just test and roll. You just test and roll, and you figure it out that way. That's totally how it goes. So that one's an easy one. Okay. Anne Marie is asking in the chat. Let me find it so we can all see it. She's asking, what is your advice for artists who don't yet have an email list? How do we market our work without an opt-in audience? The beautiful thing, Anne Marie, is about email lists is whether you have 100,000 on the list or whether you have none on the list. Do you know how they're built? One email at a time. One email at a time. That's it, right? Social followers are built one follower at a time. Early on, is it a bit of a grind? Yes, it is. But the oak tree model applies here. When was the best time to plant an oak tree? 30 years ago. When is the next best time? Today. Today, right? You get started in on it. You start with none on your list. Fine. And you get a couple. We borrow with some family and friends in there and throw mom in there. Fine. Look, you got to do what you can early on. And then we teach you how to market and teach you how to grow it throughout the year. And we've got a bunch of different stuff in there that we recommend that we do. So that's what I would say. It's always the chicken and the egg problem, right? Like, if I just had some attention, I'd have some big, I don't want to get into it. You guys get it. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Early on, it sucks. You start in on the marketing. But again, I don't know if you saw the earlier part of the presentation, but you've got decades of this ahead of you. So you get started, you take your licks early on. First year's no fun, and you grind it out, and you see where you land. So that's the deal. Joseph, we have a sale going on. Have you talked about that yet?
A little early, but I can go over it again. So generally our regular price for the entry level is $1,750 as a one-time fee. So we have that down to $1,000 right now to get started, and then $44 a month ongoing. And then on the higher end, like the full package with every feature, bell and whistle, is generally $4,000. But right now we have that with the promotion for $2,700 as a one-time fee, and then $59 a month ongoing. And just different options. You can come on wherever's comfortable, and because you can get started at the base option and always upgrade if you need to. So just ways to spread it out a little bit. So, but with Father's Day around the corner, it's a good time to get up, and that way you can market for that and get a boost to emails, get a boost to followers, all that kind of stuff, and get some of those marketing chops working. So that stuff takes time.
It does. It's a grind. Nothing good comes easy though.
Rewarding in the long run.
Yeah. All right, good session today. Guys, anyone else? Have us? Any other questions? Okay, Lisa, gotcha. Go ahead, Lisa. You can unmute. Yeah, just have to hit the mic icon bottom left. Yep, gotcha.
So for how long is it 45 or 44 or 59, depending on you get the package? So how long does that last? That lasts forever? So if
Like,
you sign
uh,
now, it'll always be 44 or like how does
yeah.
that work?
Are you
Future.
talking about like once you sign up, ongoing?
Hmm.
That's a great question.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it'll stay that. We have never retroactively increased pricing on current clients, so it stay at that. Now we may, if prices go up in the future, it only affect people signing up at that point, but you would be locked in at your price.
Okay. And you're saying like the $44, like the low end versus the high end, are there pieces missing out of it?
It's just
Like, or is everything like an add-on?
it's
You
featured.
know,
The high end has just every feature we have. We have a giant feature list we can send you. That we have over 200 features, and it's just everything. And when we add future features, you're still 59 a month, and you just get the features on the site. They're just there. It's nice. So you're locked in, and yeah, you'll just get all the features as we add them, and then we increase prices for future clients that won't affect you. But
okay.
yeah, if
But
that's
but if you start at the low end, like the basic, like,
correct, you
and
can.
you're like, oh, like shucks, like I really need that. Like, how much more is that going to cost me? It's like whatever it is. I don't know what it is yet. It's all like not. It's not tangible yet. So
Yeah, yeah, no, you're fine. It's our intention. We'd love everybody to be on the high end. Selling art can be hard. We want you to have every tool at your disposal possible to be able to sell as much as possible. But if that's not in your budget, because it's not always, we get that. So we have options. You can spread it out, get yourself started, have the essentials that you would need to sell, marketing plan, all that stuff. And then, yeah, what you pay applies towards moving up. So you can hop up at any time, um, at
all right.
comfort
I-
level.
Okay. And like, okay, hypothetical. You go all in.
Yeah.
You break your leg. Whatever. You have a life altering event.
Okay.
And you can't make the $59 a month. Can you pause it, hold it, come back?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happens to your website?
It would just go into like, I think we call it hibernation. And that's like, I think you can stay in that for like $9 a month for those extreme
Oh,
circumstances.
okay. So there's like a step down if you need to step down.
Yep.
Yeah, you could pause it. Or you could even hop down to the lower plan at 44 a month for a while and then hop back up to the 59 if you needed to.
Okay.
So we're here for you guys.
Okay.
Everybody here, right? Artists, photographers, we get it. Life happens. When that stuff happens, we'll do what we can to work with you because we're just trying to help all of you start to achieve those goals that you want to be at with wherever your goal is for sales. We've got full-time artists that that's what they do and that's what they're looking to be at, and we've got full-time people who work another job and are building this on the side or building it for retirement. Whatever your goal is, we just want trying to help you guys
So
have
how
everything.
do you like you have an individual chat with one of you guys about where you are and what your goal is? It's not like
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming on board, my team is happy to kind of hear what you're doing and your circumstance and where you're looking to be, and yeah, they'll make recommendations. And then once you come on board, there's a marketing plan. It's like Pat said, it's 365 days a year. There's a lot of full-time people, that can't do that every day, but do what you can. And like Pat says, if you got 2 hours a week, give them that every week, and just be consistent. It's a compounding thing that we're helping you build here. So it just takes time. And that's why the sooner you start, the better. That's why we have different, kind of tiers for you to start on. That way because we know if you wait to save up for the high end, that time you wasted is time you could
right.
have been having more emails and more followers. Like, it's just get started where you can. Yeah, upgrade when you can. Obviously, make it easy on yourself. Have all the tools when you can. But yeah, that's kind of the path we want. We just want you guys to get started, start building it up, and then you can always upgrade or whatever you need to do. And do whatever marketing you can. If you're reaching your goal, if some people here only want to sell 5, 12 grand a year, and they're happy with that. Great. If you're happy, we're happy. If you want to take it further than that, then it's going to require some more marketing, and that's great. We're here to support you and help you. And when you have questions, you can go into the workshops, work through the problems, go into the community, work through the problems. That way you can keep going to those next levels. And that's kind of what this is all built for you guys to do here. So it's awesome.
Okay. All right.
When life happens, let us know. We're happy to see what we can do to help you. So.
Life's always happening.
It's always happening. You never know what's around the corner. So we've got options for all kinds of stuff. So
Okay. I'm interested.
cool.
I'm
Yeah, that's
curious.
my tangent. Pat goes on his
I'm
tangent.
still on the hook.
But I don't know. If you can't tell, we're all pretty passionate about what we're doing here. So
Mhm.
I like those glasses too.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm
I'm an
jealous.
artist.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm
It
jealous
matches my
of them.
artwork. My glasses match my artwork.
I look, there's only so many glasses. Like I was literally earlier looking at Pat and his glasses and thinking, man, I could not pull that off. I would just look goofy. So
I have
gotta be
I have 20/20 vision too. Mine are just for the computer and stare at the doggone screen for so long that it blocks out the blue light or whatever. Keeps my eye fatigue low. All like the crazy computer gaming kids wear them, and it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. My head doesn't hurt as much at the end of the day, but yeah. All right, so Matthew, it looks like you got your questions sorted. Raymond, yes, end of the month is when it ends. But as long as you get your demo in and you talk to these guys, well, just Joseph's got a bunch of nice people on his team, or you might even get to talk to him. So you guys can just ping him and go from there. Oh yeah, Kirk's got some. So Kirk's saying, I do gourd sculptures and other 3D art that nearly needs to be seen live. Do you have many 3D artists, and how would that work? How many 3D artists would you say we have, Joseph?
A handful of like strictly just 3D. We do have a lot of artists that do both. I would say there's more of those, but we have a handful. We can always send you some example sites after after the fact. But yeah, well, we have some more like framing tools and stuff like that that you might not benefit from, but really here it's the marketing plan and getting that art scene. A lot of the live shows and things that Pat and them have, structure and playbooks for would benefit you potentially. So yeah, I would just evaluate it and see if it'd be a good solution for you. But yeah, we do have some, and then we also have some that actually some of their works might hang on the wall, and so then some of those other features do benefit them as well.
Yep. You still have a marketing problem, whether it's in 3D or not, Kirk. Right? You still have a marketing problem. I mean, that's the reality. We had one really cool artist that figured out this like light prism thing. I don't know if you were on for this call, Joseph, but it was so freaking cool. But it was
right.
like a prism, and the prism hung down as a sculpture, and then he professionally lit it, and it lit it, and I mean this thing looked like laser light show Vegas 3000, right? Like it just looked insane. I couldn't even believe how cool it was. And he's like, yeah, there's 2 of us in the United States that do it. I gotta follow up whether or not that guy signed up, because I thought his stuff was awesome. I want one, but they're like 20 grand. I mean, amazing. But anyway, okay. Joseph, good session. Thank you. I always say the same thing on these things. If you're in discovery mode, okay, and you're just finding out about us for the first time, great. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. But if you are at all on the fence, the demo process is simple. You request a demo, they do a 15-minute call, someone from Joseph's team, and if you like what you hear, you can schedule the first demo. If not, they'll never call you again. We are not pressure outfits. But we are running a good sale this month, and the month is almost ending. So if you are, on the fence in the discovery mode, it's very, very easy to request a demo, get all your questions answered, and they'll look at your work too. So that's what I would say. Joseph, you have anything in closing?
Yeah, no. Other than that, just if you want to be up for Father's Day, it's the next big holiday, and it's a good time to try a lot of the strategies because not everybody gets it right the first time, but just good learnings that way you can get ready for the fourth quarter, because I can't believe it's already almost the end of May, so we'll be there before you know it.
Yeah. Fourth quarter is always when the most art sells, which is why we always bang the drum on that. But other than that, guys, thank you. Great session. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate you guys. Good luck out there, and love to see you on the inside. Thank you, guys.